Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished Manchester United 2, Newcastle United nil. Manchester United winning the Carabao Cup. The first Open Sixes, I said, and I had to watch the whole thing. And then, it's like, okay, well, what do we do first? So it was a quick reaction show, but we'll do a little bit more in depth now. There's a lot of things, a lot of subplots to talk about. But I think one of the main things that always stand out in games like this is probably the big game experience. And when you look at Manchester United, they've got maybe not players who have played big games for United, but you've got guys like Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, Casemiro. These guys, they played big games. They played, they won big games as well. Fred as well has won a Copa America, I believe, with Brazil as well, if I'm not wrong. So they've got guys who played in these big matches and have experience of winning these big matches. And then you've got, of course, guys like Bruno Fernandes, who's a big game player. Luke Shaw, who is also a big game player. People forget that in that whole England Euro loss, they forget that Luke Shaw was probably one of the standouts, scored an early goal as well in that game. So they had that experience, but Newcastle didn't have that. And I think that was ultimately the key, because Newcastle came out of the blocks really quickly. I thought this is going to be a tough day for Manchester United. They looked a little bit tired, understandable, because they've come off such a big game, not just physically, but mentally against Barcelona. How do you reset yourself after something like that, right? And you just felt like if Newcastle, they had more energy, they had more zip about them. But again, it's big game experience, isn't it? It's just, okay, yeah, doesn't matter. They can have a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. Doesn't mean they're gonna have a good 90 minutes. I think that's what happened. They slowly got, themselves in the game. Then that goal came. I think, unfortunately, Bruno Guimaraes, I mean, talked about him. I thought he was probably, he was probably the difference maker for Newcastle in terms of how they've been playing before. Now he plays. He's just a class player, for Newcastle United. But he gives away a foul in this case. It's a bit unfortunate, but that delivery from Luke Shaw is brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. And Casemiro gets his head onto it, and it's all about that delivery. It really is all about that delivery, putting that into the right area, and the Casemiro rising above everyone, getting in the back of net and making it 1-0. And you thought, right, this is good. This is a good start for Manchester United. But then, Barcelona had 1-0 up, 1-0 up, and then they lost. So you can never say anything. But yeah, 1-0 was a good start. And it becomes 2-0. And the second goal is one that will disappoint a lot of Newcastle folks for a long time, because so it starts with them losing the ball again in midfield. Shaw picks it up. I believe it was Shaw picked it up, and then he passed it forward, and it reaches Weghorst. Now Weghorst is allowed to get to find this time to put a pass through, which I think is the first thing that nobody gets tight on him for some reason. It reaches out to Rashford, and then it's deflected into. It's an own goal from Botman, which probably tells that the shot from Rashford wasn't anything special. I mean, Karius would have probably caught it if Botman hadn't deflected it. The Botman deflection is one part because he's panicking. The second part is Karius going too easily down, because I think he's kind of anticipating the shot before it's even put in, and so now he can't react to that deflection. So maybe Pope would have saved that, and maybe and that again, we talked about Nick Pope not being a big miss for Newcastle, but the fact is that that's what they had to deal with, and the Karius coming in couldn't rise up to level. They actually pulled off a couple of good saves in the second half, but it's that one save that you don't make that sometimes decide games. I think that second goal may have decided a little bit, because at 1-0 you always feel you have a chance. I think at 2-0 it kind of just felt like United then got into game management mode. They were more like, yeah, okay, you take your shots, take your chances, whatever you want to do. I do feel that in the second half, Ten Hag showed a lot of nous by bringing on wan-Bissaka. I was saying, take off wan-Bissaka. I would have probably even taken off Fred, but I understand he doesn't like to make more than one change at halftime. So he brought on wan-Bissaka, which I thought was the right decision, because Dalot, that should not have been a yellow card that early in the game. And it almost told me, like, this is going to be shades of Manchester City again, because that's how they won 6-3, right? When Dalot got yellow carded early on, and then Grealish just had the run of that side. He could do whatever he wanted. So it was the right decision to bring wan-Bissaka on at halftime. And it was just about closing out the game. I think Newcastle going to a 4-4-2 probably also helped Manchester United a little bit, because as soon as they went 4-4-2, it meant that Casemiro became the spare man in some ways in midfield. So he could help out wan-Bissaka, to tackle Saint-Maximin, or help out the defensive if there was something that was coming. So it was I mean, it wasn't the wrong decision from Howe, because he had to go for it, and you had to go 4-4-2, you go for it, right? You're 2-0 down anyway, so what do you do, right? But like I said, big game experience. Ultimately, that was what paid off. And then you of course saw at the end there, all the players, the way that they shut Newcastle out after I think the 70th minute. Once I think Ten Hag brought on Sabitzer, he brought on McTominay. The way they shut Newcastle out, I think was one to watch. That's how it is a proper cup final. That's what you do in cup finals. You don't try and emulate your opponent. You don't try and try and entertain as such. It's all about making sure you get the win. That's the most important thing, and they got that win 2-0. So fantastic performance. To think that 2 games in the season we're talking about Ten Hag. I remember talking about Eric Ten Hag and thinking maybe he's not going to last very long, just because he's and we go back to this. He wasn't appointed by the Glazers. He was appointed by the fans. Imagine a year ago we were talking about the fact that we could have gotten Mauricio Pochettino, and now here we are getting with Eric Ten Hag win a cup. So I think it's things like that, little moments like that, where you kind of go back and wonder what has happened. So I think every United fan should enjoy this moment, because this shows. This is a success for the fans. Really, it is a success for the fans, because nobody wanted Eric Ten Hag aside from the fans at Manchester United. The rival fans obviously didn't. Not that they care, but the Glazers didn't want. They wanted Pochettino. The media wanted Pochettino. Ex-players wanted Pochettino. The players themselves, some of the players themselves wanted Pochettino. So there's a reason why it was just overwhelming pressure that brought Eric Ten Hag in. So it's a success for the fans, I believe. And he's been fantastic. I mean, people say Casemiro is a man of the match, but I would say it's got to be Eric Ten Hag is a man at the moment, isn't he? He's just so fantastic. And you go into every game optimistic that he can pull off a result. When was the last time you thought that about Manchester United? I'm still nervous though, but you know what I mean. It's just fantastic to watch. Anyway, it's brilliant, and there's so many things that you can talk about, so many things that you can say. Lisandro Martinez, a player who I thought would not make it after his second game against Brentford, and yet he's one of my favorite players now, top defender, really. Luke Shaw had a great season, a couple of years. Then last year just looked completely off pace, and everybody, when I wrote him off again, me too, I kind of wrote him off as well. But he's come back and he's become a key player as well. So I think there's a lot of redemption stories in that side. I think a lot, and it's not a coincidence that Eric Ten Hag coming in has brought through all of that. Marcus Rashford as well, somebody who I thought would have left in the summer, or would have been close to leaving in the summer. Yet he's now key player for Manchester United. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the game. Of course, it's been a hard topic thing, and then you got to play West Ham again in the FA Cup, so another cup game to come and to deal with this again. But let me know your thoughts on the game. Go smash a like if you enjoyed the video. Smash a like for Manchester United winning the Carabao Cup. It's may not be a major trophy, but I think it's an important trophy for any club to win. I think for Manchester United, they needed to win this. They need to do this and get that trophy thing off their back, and now they can start focusing on the rest of the achievements for the season. Sky's the limit. Let's see how far they get. But yeah, smash the like, and do share your thoughts, of course. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel, of course, on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We love your support, of course. And take care. We'll have one more, because I think there's Barcelona playing later, so we'll do that one as well. But in the meantime, take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye.